This is United for Biodiversity, the Alliance podcast, a platform that unites global voices in a call to action to protect our planet's rich biodiversity. Join us for critical insights and let's stand united for biodiversity.
Welcome to another episode of United for Biodiversity, the Alliance podcast. I am your host, Guyana Wilberg. Today, we continue the discussion regarding Guyana's leadership on the biodiversity front. And to help us with today's discussion is a very distinguished guest, Dr. Lesley de Souza, Senior Conservation Biologist at the Field Museum of Natural History. Dr. de Souza, it's a pleasure to have you on the podcast.
Excited to be here.
Great. So I know that our audience is excited to hear from you, so I won't keep them waiting any further. I'll jump straight in. Dr. de Souza, from your perspective, how has the conservation field in Guyana transformed during the last 2 decades?
It's been quite remarkable to be able to witness, having worked in Guyana for the last 22 years.
Wow.
You all captured my heart, and I'm still coming to Guyana. I love this country so much. What I've seen over the last 2 decades is just an increase in local grassroots organizations expanding their conservation efforts, whether that be within communities or around and surrounding with communities. Communities have been leading on conservation efforts within their titled lands. The South Rupununi Conservation Society is an example of an organization that works with communities on community-led conservation efforts. And so you're seeing projects that are addressing conservation concerns for important species like the giant anteater, the giant armadillo, the red siskin, a cottontail rabbit. One was just the first cottontail rabbit has been discovered in Guyana. And so, that increase in the conservation efforts at a local stage is what I'm seeing grow alongside the committed international NGOs that have been in Guyana for a very long time.
And what role has scientific research played in advancing the environmental policies?
Yeah, scientific research is really important to inform environmental policies, and it's really effective when you have leadership and decision makers that want the scientific research to inform their decisions. And I really like a quote from President Ali when he spoke at the launch of Sophia Point. And I'm just going to read this quote for you. He said, "Research without action is dead. Research is not meant to be on shelves. Research is meant to influence change." And that's precisely it. I work for a group. Our primary goal at the Field Museum and the Action Centers through the Rapid Inventories Program is to do quick biological and social surveys in remote areas alongside the local experts to inform change. And so, that is most effective when you have leaders that lead with the desire to have rigorous scientific research to inform environmental policies.
Absolutely. And you spoke about the importance of communities too and the role that they play. And how do you see Indigenous knowledge in particular and local monitoring practices complementing scientific research, especially in the Amazon?
It is essential to the work that we do all over the Amazon basin, in Guyana and all over the world. There are people that are from a landscape that have an intimate knowledge of the area.
Right.
So whether that's processes over time, or we come in as scientists and we see a snapshot. We might be there even if we're there for a couple of months, we don't have that long-standing intimate knowledge that has been passed down from generation to generation. So without incorporating the intimate Indigenous knowledge of a landscape, we're missing a huge component in our understanding of the biodiversity and the larger impact that it might have to a wider area
So, Dr. De Souza, in your estimation, what are some effective ways in which we can ensure local communities remain at the heart of conservation efforts?
That's a great question, Kiana. And I think that in order to have communities at the heart of conservation efforts, one way is to have them leading some of those efforts, and for that to be within their communities or in the surrounding landscapes that they know well and they're already likely stewarding. I think another way is to ensure that they receive benefits from the stewardship of um, these natural resources. So, whether that's through jobs or through payments, several communities around the Amazon basin have employed ecotourism as a way to be leading conservation efforts, but also, bring in revenue for their
Right,
communities.
right.
So I think that's a really important. There's benefits to the way that they're conserving the landscape or the biodiversity.
Indeed. Thank you for that. Now, Guyana is stepping into a very important role, a new chapter, so to speak, of its green leadership, and it's doing so with the Global Biodiversity Alliance. What, in your view, makes Guyana so uniquely qualified to lead such an initiative?
Yeah, this is a really exciting time to see, Guyana taking this step and this leadership, and they have been leading before the Global
Mm-hmm.
Biodiversity Alliance Summit. They are one of the leaders in low carbon development. There aren't many countries that are leading and thinking about their government strategies around low carbon development.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Guyana has successfully preserved more than 90% of its rainforest. I think they're in a great position to be leaders in biodiversity, especially as a high biodiverse country with some of the largest tracts of intact forest on the globe. I mean, it's a time for a country like Guyana, who is providing the world a service by preserving all of this biodiversity and these forests, for others to, respond to this call to action.
Thank you, Dr. D'Souza. And with the Global Biodiversity Alliance Summit, how do you see this impacting global conservation efforts? Because one of the messages that we've been hearing is that, yes, there are pockets of efforts, but the movement needs to be reinvigorated. So, what are your thoughts on the potential of this new platform to do just that?
Yeah, I think anytime that we can have a platform where country leaders are saying, come on, world, listen up. There is a biodiversity crisis. There is a climate, crisis at the moment.
Absolutely.
We need to wake up. There's a call to action here. And so I see this as just another moment for leaders to have a strong voice for the support of biodiversity, for conservation efforts, and for people instead to talk in action, and for there for people to really make big efforts within their country, whether it's
Mm-hmm.
for the 30 by 30 or if it's species specific biodiversity efforts. I think there are a lot of ways to walk the talk.
Mm-hmm. Indeed,
And so I
indeed.
think this is an opportunity that Guyana is saying, okay, come on, everybody, we need to listen. There's a call to action here. There's a crisis that we need to address.
Absolutely. And Dr. D'Souza, to close, I want to ask you another really important question, and this pertains to the global community support for countries like Guyana, and especially as it pertains to biodiversity initiatives and ensuring long term success. What's your take on this? How can the global community really assist countries like Guyana?
Yeah, that's another great question, Kiana. Thank you for that. I think that thinking about it from a scientific perspective, I think that training is one way that scientific organizations like the Field Museum or other international organizations can build the scientific capacity within the country. Um, and that might be more doctorates or masters or bringing skill sets back to the country, But there's also another way, and that's, utilizing the existing capacity within the country from indigenous knowledge. And so that is really deep in Guyana, the indigenous knowledge in the hinterlands of Guyana. And so I think it's building the capacity as well as utilizing the existing capacity, and international organizations can support that.
Dr. de Souza, I want to thank you so much for providing us with your insights today. This was truly an enriching discussion, and I know that our audience has learned quite a lot from you. So thank you so much for sharing your time with us.
Thank you so much, Kiana, and I look forward to a really productive and exciting week of great discussions on biodiversity.
Thank you. Indeed. To our audience, we want to thank you for joining us. Be sure to look out for more insights that we will be bringing you from thought leaders here and around the world. I'm Kiana Wilberg, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to United for Biodiversity, the Alliance podcast. Be sure to follow us for more insightful episodes on our Spotify, LinkedIn, and Facebook accounts.